Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Myanmar goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Welcome back to Vic Acres Wonderland. We are back for episode 21. And it was a good weekend for me personally. I was at my last game of the season, which is kind of sad, but I got a weldie, so I'm well happy for Frida. To start off a bit of news as always, 55 goals, 42 assists, and the second most goal contributions in WSL. It is our best birthday, so happy birthday. I am going to ask you to. I am going to introduce Adam and Matt because I've completely just jumped straight into this. Adam, I'm going to start with you. What's your favourite Beth Mead moment so far?
I'll just say I was going to ask if it's this season, but that's been a rather short season. I can only think of really my favourite Beth goal, which is the one she scored against Brighton at the Amex Stadium. I could just it's the game when we won the league in 2019. And look, she scored some great goals, some important goals, some amazing goals. But I could just watch that goal back, and it's so aesthetically pleasing watching it launch into the top corner on that day and at that stadium. It was the goal that sort of made me join, Team Mead. So no, that will always be my favourite, and unless maybe she scored a winner in the Champions League final. But until then, till next season, it will be the goal at Brighton that won us the league.
Yeah, no, I could agree with you there. That is a nice goal. And as always, Matt is joining us on the screen. Matt, what is your favourite Beth Mead moment?
Oh, so many to choose from. I think just a personal one from me at the end of the season against West Ham, which was a year yesterday. I got to manage to speak to her and everything. She goes and ask for a photo. She takes a photo of the stand, like of the ceiling of the stand. So that always falls out to me. But it's almost like it's one of those things that you keep with you. I was thinking about it. That even in that West Ham game, she hit the crossbar. She could hit the crossbar so many times last season as well. Thinking about it. But one thing that stood out, you could probably say the game against Chelsea, where you could probably say when people started thinking maybe it was the start of the revenge tour. But there's so many. I think my favourite moment will probably be just her being able to. I'll stick with my first answer and go with the game against West Ham because Adam looks like he's about to nod off there. So
no, I'm not. Well, I am going to nod off, but that's not because of what you're saying. Just because I'm absolutely shattered. I'm sure people on YouTube can see the bags under my eyelids. It's been a rough return from the bank holiday, and I think we're all feeling a bit exhausted. I should add the Brighton game. I mean, the Brighton game to the Chelsea game when she scored her brace, the first goal, when she absolutely levels it into past Berger and to the inside netting where her towel was hanging. I mean, yeah, I was at the Emirates for that, and that was special. That was almost like the Beth's back, and she means. But after what happened with the Olympics, it was sort of her launch onto that season, and what a season she had. But that moment, that Emirates game, that Chelsea win against Chelsea, that will stay for a long time.
Even if you just go back to her England game at goals at the Euros, I think back to the game against Norway where she just literally danced through that Norwegian defence and just slotted it in the back of the net. I was just thinking, you're so on fire at the moment. You're probably roasting marshmallows. You could have roasted some marshmallows over a campfire because you're so on fire.
every player has a game where just everything goes like perfect for you. It just happens. You just know that you're on form. Everything is snapping. The passes are finding their targets. Your shots are hitting the top corner. Michael Richards mentioned this in the podcast. He said he had like when he was bursting onto the scene for Man City, and he said I had this game against Charlton where I was playing amazing at Man City. My passes were finding the places. I was doing amazing stuff, and he was really worried because he knew he isn't really this good. And then if the next day the fans are going to be expecting him to be doing the same when they play, Man United next or something, it's going to be terrible. But that game, again, it was at the Amex Stadium again. Just maybe she loves that stadium, obviously. Also, shout out for her inventing the crot when she scored against Brazil. I mean, that was also a very special moment. Just that's become her signature. And yeah, well done to Beth for that.
No, absolutely. We've actually got the start of the transfer rumours as well, which is, I think, been really interesting. Thankfully, it's only 2. We're looking at Paula Thomas from Levante and Liga F, and also Martina Piemonte. I think I pronounced that right, from AC Milan. She's a striker. So we're definitely in need of covering them positions, don't you think, boys?
Yeah, Jonas has made quite clear in the last transfer windows that he wants a striker. So we are again hunting for a striker. Whether we'll actually have a new striker by the end of the window, I do not know. Track record would say no, but third time lucky. I don't know. I was going to mention something else. I don't know. Was that all the transfer rumours you were going to throw at me? Because I was going to. I think we should name drop. We should name drop. It's not Arsenal related, but we can have a chuckle over it. Of the very strong rumours that 2 key players at Chelsea are looking to leave. And who can blame them? And move to Bayern.
They're off to Germany, last I heard.
I know. It looks like, is it Harder and Ericsson, isn't it? The pair of them. Yep. It looks like it's been on the cards. I have heard rumours that they were going to be leaving before this broke. I thought they might have gone to Wolfsburg, but Bayern Munich, which is a bit interesting. So, soon to see how. I'm sure Chelsea will come from that. They'll just buy another striker. Probably they'll copy what the men's team are doing and just buy the strikers we're after, because that seems to be their transfer policy at the moment. So maybe it's what Tom Bowley's got. They'll sign Russo. That's what they're going to do. They'll spend 100 million on.
Don't say that. All I've got to say on the other 2 transfers, watch out, Wolfsburg. Bayern are coming for you.
Yes. Sure. Well, they are a growing force, which is only good for German football.
No, definitely. And we've also got the England under-17 squad to be announced on Thursday. Michelle Ajiman is expected to be confirmed, but will miss out on the last 3 games of the season, which I do kind of expect her to stay on the bench, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah.
Every game from now, between now and the end of the season, is a cup final.
Yeah, but Stina left the pitch as we'll get to, Stina left the pitch with an ice pack on her leg, and if it's only Jodie Taylor we can play striker for those last 3 games, we might need Ajiman off the bench.
Maybe, but the thing is, she wasn't mentioned in the press conference for tomorrow. So we'll see, but we'll talk about that a bit further later.
She could have a Reece Nelson moment.
But outside Arsenal, Mary Earps has finally got her mural up in Nottingham, which is absolutely brilliant. It's actually that pose she did when she was standing on the press conference table post match, and Serena's looking at her. What the hell are you doing? I think that is one of my favourite moments, because it just made me laugh.
It's still wobbly, ladies and gentlemen, just to let people know.
I would have gone for Mary Earps lying on the ground on the penalty area, holding the ball, looking up and laughing at everybody, because that's what we saw him do most of the time during the Euros. That's what I would have gone for. But no, an iconic pose that the press. Always worth tuning in and watching that clip again. It's never not funny watching Serena's face as the whole entire team storms in singing.
It's almost like you look at it, and it's almost like you have to watch every single player individually each time, because you get something different.
Yes, exactly. Everyone's doing their own thing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, but that's what we want. We don't want carbon copies of everybody, do we?
No,
exactly.
Limitations are unique.
Yeah. Further down the Championship, Watford will face Nottingham Forest for a spot in the Championship, which is going to be really interesting. I believe Newcastle have also got a spot. Is that right?
Newcastle.
I read that somewhere.
they'll go into the Northern Premier Division, so it's the spot below. So next season they could potentially be, if they become champions, they'll go straight into the Championship.
Sweet. Okay, and that's everything on our news for the moment. We didn't exactly do our predictions for the weekend and what the scores were going to be. Matt, what have you made of the scorelines this weekend?
I'll probably start with Everton because they're probably the team that I look at most against Chelsea. It wasn't really, for me, Everton, for that first 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they looked the better of the teams. Just unfortunately, they didn't take advantage because Chelsea just do this thing where first 10, 15 minutes, they let you have the ball, whatever, and then they just grow into the game. And that's how they get their results, is they just go. And unfortunately, Everton didn't have Jess Park. She was out with a shoulder injury. Gabby George is out with a leg injury as well. There's a few others that was also missing in that lineup. So it was a bit of a shame, really. But Everton losing 7-0 against Chelsea, it almost felt like Frank Lampard was there, and he was telling them that they were scoring an average goal, a fluke goal, another average goal. It was just Chelsea just seemed to just grab the situation and they just made it look better than it was. And I'm not saying that Chelsea were really good or Everton were purely bad. It was just, I think perhaps we're looking at a squad that's perhaps just maybe just winding itself down. They already know that they're staying up. They've achieved their goals for the season. They would have probably wanted to have done better in the quarterfinals of the Conti Cup and the FA Cup, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. The Aston Villa going and losing to Villa, as I'm sure you're very happy. Probably
sorry, Matt. You just said Aston Villa losing to Aston Villa. You mean Aston Villa beating Reading?
Reading. Thank you, Adam.
I mean, that would have been impressive. Yes.
I'm definitely exhausted for bank holiday weekend. I didn't even cotton on to that.
Yeah, well, it was Rachel Daly, wasn't it, with a hat trick? Your favourite left back.
Yeah, and my captain of my fantasy football team. 32 points from 3 goals. Thank you very, very much.
From what I heard from that game, it was just consistently like Aston Villa are at their best, and that was without Jordan Nobbs, who had a little bit of a nick before the game, so she was pulled out, but she's expected to be back in training, so she'll be playing some part in their next game. The game, Liverpool somehow managing to get 3 points against Man City. I think the biggest news of the lot, if I'm honest. You don't really expect Man City at this stage to just fall apart. You expect Manchester United to fall apart at this sort of stage of the season. And whatever's happened at City, I have a feeling that Gareth Taylor will not be the manager that coming at the start of the next season.
I actually watched. It's actually one of the few games I actually watched, and it was one of those sort of ones. I was, because it was on Sunday, so I just watched one of the games. I think it might have been the earlier game, and then it came up on my feed. Oh no, so that was it. I was watching the I think it might have been one of the games, the final games of the Championship. I think it was the Championship games, and I think it was Millwall Blackburn. I think it was. The problem is there's so many games you lose track of all of them, but I think that game was on the Sunday.
Monday.
Because they were winning 3-1 at half time and then lost 4-3.
Was that on the Monday? Was that on the Monday?
No,
or
sorry,
the Sunday?
Championship was on the Sunday. It was
Sunday.
So I just watched that, and it was chaos that happened. And I just got my feed and saw that Liverpool are 1-0 up, and I thought, I'll have a look at this because you never know, we might get lucky. And apparently, the goal, I missed that goal, but it was a bit of a blunder actually. I think it was Coombs with a loose back pass, and Dowie did very well to race onto it. It was a very uncharacteristic mistake from Man City, but Man City came back. Chloe Hemp, the width they supply, you expect the goals. So I mostly watched the second half. And
mask though, she's lost the Batgirl mask.
Yeah, well, her nose is obviously healed after her collision in the internationals. But no, I think it was Kearns, wasn't it, who got the winner in the end?
It's the bane of my existence.
Yeah, great finish, great setup for Corbistic pullback, great touch, drilled into the bottom corner, 2-1 Liverpool. That was right at the start of the second half, and that did catch me off guard as well. So now you're watching it, and you got 45 minutes of thinking, oh my goodness, well, eventually, this Manchester City team is going to wake up. Eventually, they're going to click in the game. They never did. It was unbelievably sort of slow. It was tepid. It was no intense. And until the last 10 minutes when they threw the kitchen sink and realised they could actually lose to Liverpool. And it's one of these weird ones, like, Man City can have these two faces. They will either go in and they will annihilate a team 7-8-0 or what we saw against West Ham, was it 6-2 in the end? And they'll rack up the goals and they have this beautiful, fluent passing game. But the moment that someone actually steps in and stops them playing that game, they have no plan B. We saw it at Arsenal. The moment that we got stuck in, shall we say, and didn't let them pass around us and stop the passing, they couldn't pass through us. They couldn't get the balls. They couldn't get the delivery to Shaw. They couldn't get the crosses in. And the second half, we overpowered them. And Liverpool were brilliant. In fact, Liverpool should have been further ahead. Van der Sanden missed 1v1. Good save by Roebuck. There was I can't remember who was on the wing, but someone had a cross that cannoned off the inside of the post. This should be further ahead. The funniest moment was when Roebuck picked up the ball. She did a knock.
You're going to mention it.
Yes, I know. I remember.
Do you know what? I've seen this so many times over social media.
It's so bad.
I'm like, how does she manage that? She's a very well-seasoned
This
goalkeeper.
annoys me with goalkeepers in general. When it's sunny like that, you would have thought, right, you would wear a cap or something. Whatever reason, girls do not, or women, whatever, for whatever reason, they decide not to wear a cap.
The Spurs keeper does. The Spurs keeper has a headband.
That's different. No, it's not really a sun cap, so the sun's not in your eye. But it's just a
goal cap.
It was a bizarre incident because I thought, especially if it's in the D, it's technically considered a penalty.
Yeah.
No, so what a D is not in the D is separate. So what happened was there was a 1v1
situation. As she's gone to walk it up, not as it's a drop ball even. That's the only reason why it was given a free kick. I was actually looking at the laws of the game. Sure, it wasn't a penalty or anything like that, but there's nothing on it to say it's definitely a free kick or anything or a penalty or anything like that.
So being in the D does not count as being in the penalty area. The D is only to stop encroachment when the penalty is being taken.
Do you know why the D exists?
Yes, I do. It stops people encroaching when a penalty is being taken because it gives you the correct distance away from the penalty spot.
It's technically part of the penalty area.
No, it's the 6-yard box is the area of the penalty area. It's just an extra buffer to stop people running in. Otherwise, because you could be too close to the penalty spot. What happened was there was a 1v1, another one, and Roebuck got clattered. It might have been from Van der Sanden again. It was getting a body on the line, and I was worried if maybe she was a bit concussed. She did all the head checks and stuff, but she clearly wasn't aware of her surroundings and where the lines and the lines are on the pitch. And it's one of those ones again where you just look away because you think that she's going to boot upfield, and suddenly you hear a whistle's been blown, and the commentators a bit. Oh, has she just done what we think she's done? And you watch it back, and she's wandered out and then realised, that, oh my goodness, and it's too late then. Thankfully, I mean, for the law, because it would have been on every tape, of howlers, the free kick came to nothing. In fact, the biggest howler, one could argue, is actually what happened at the other end when Hemp's shot bounced off the crossbar, Frank Lampard style, and replays, shall we say, are inconclusive. The FA player only has one camera angle. So we don't really know if the ball crossed the line, but I thought it let it flush. But obviously, if you're a Man City persuasion, it's in the back of the net, and if you're a Liverpool persuasion, it wasn't. And
this though, Man City.
But if you're neutral, what do you think?
I think it's on the line. I don't think it's a goal because I am totally neutral in this. I am Switzerland when it comes to this game.
The Man City
you're so not neutral. If it benefits Arsenal, you benefit Arsenal. That's the answer. Come on, let's just be serious. Sorry, Matt.
The Man City fans were actually in that away stand, which is what for the men's team. That's where all the away fans are. So when Northampton went and got promoted, basically all the fans ran onto the pitch from that stand. Now, it would have been nice had it been. They knew Arsenal fans go in their droves. They know they've got fans coming over from everywhere. It would have been nice for them to turn around at the start of the season and go, right, we're going to have the away stand for everyone, not just, it's Man City. We're going to make sure they have the away stand and then have a free-for-all at the other ends. It just doesn't make sense, and things like that they need to do better with. But again, Man City fans were actually at the end where Hemp had that shot, and that when they shouted for it, it was just like everyone felt, you could feel it in the coming through on the commentary, and it was very much a, do we need goal line technology?
I think it's goal line technology. You want it. You need, if you're going to go that route. I think the only way you can force it is if you have them in the main stadiums. So you have Liverpool playing at Anfield. You play them in stadiums which are equipped with goal line technology. You're not going to get goal line technology at Meadow Park. You're not. The stadium is not. Yeah, you're not. Just like you probably won't get it at Kings Meadow. You won't get it at the Sports Village. So the only way you're going to get it is if you force them to play in the main.
I think the only team that can facilitate that. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Is City. They're literally next door to the main stadium. They can literally drag it across like they did for the Euros.
Leicester City can do it. Leicester can do it. Reading might. I don't know if Reading.
Half of Villa's games can be done as well with VAR. Like it's just thing is, you just, and then you look at a team like Reading. If there's some miracle they stay up, where are you going to get the VAR for them?
Well, actually, there's a little shout out on Reading because obviously Everton and Leicester are in the relegation zone. There's a talk about Reading being the only, non-Premier League club.
Technically, the team that's coming off is going to be the only one if Reading don't survive. Technically,
if Reading survive, Bristol come up, and Everton and Leicester get relegated from the Premier League. You'll have 4 non-Premier League backed teams in the WSL, which would be insane. It was fair play to Liverpool. They were the better side for about 60 to 80 minutes, and then obviously Man City piled on the pressure. But fair play to Liverpool, they stood firm, and that is a really good result. And it's up there with the win against Chelsea in the opening day of the season.
I was for that. I love that.
Well, we've got to bring up. I mean, they've had a few. They've had some shockers. I mean, you were saying earlier off air before we got on. They lost 7-0 at the Sports Village. They've got these. The Liverpool had was it Prenton Park they play at now? Is it?
Yes.
Is it Tranmere's ground?
Yes.
Yeah. So Prenton Park is becoming, as they say, a bit of a fortress. So it shows how impressive it was that we got a 2-0 win there. But getting coups like 2-1 against Chelsea Man City, that is really, really good for a promoted side. They are the promoted team, and they've done that. Fair play to them. And they've got Man United on the last day of the season. That's going to be the one to watch because the title will almost certainly still be in the balance after the huge mega super ultra super special mega Sunday beforehand. Man United have got to go Liverpool and win, and I think Liverpool will do everything in their power, and they're obviously backed by to stop Man United, and they're backed by Matt Beard, who's won WSL titles with Liverpool twice. And they'll do everything to stop Man United. I think Liverpool they're on the up. They're not doing too badly at the moment, so that was they're
a team to watch, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely, but let's get into the good stuff, which is the Arsenal. I mean, the last time we saw Leicester, we beat them 4-0 comfortably. Got 1-0 this time round, but do you know what? It's okay. It just shows what changes they brought in the transfer window, and they've been very good, I have to say. But can we just speak about the player of the match for me? And that's Frida Leah Hardson-Marnham. I mean, she's sort of how do I put it? She's worked her way through this team this season. Normally, I feel that she's not really. How do I put it?
She's inconsistent with.
No, it's not the inconsistency. It's more of a case. I think she's overlooked because of all the other massive names we have up front.
She's underrated.
I mean, she hasn't been a tap-in much in this season. She's scored some brilliant goals this season.
It's the other players, isn't it? It's the Kim Littles, the Leah Volti, Stina, McCabe. They get the headlines. They are the big names.
Definitely.
And Frida's the quiet one.
She just flies under the radar.
Absolutely.
She just flies under the radar.
Which is even more impressive. She's scoring worldies against Bayern Munich and as we saw again at Leicester City. But no, I mean, this is her. I mean, last season she came and I thought she had some okay moments. But she has, in the words of Micah Richards, she's burst onto the scene. This is her season. This is what Beth Mead was last season. Everything is just, she's just doing it. And it's ever since that Lyon game when she started at 10 ahead of Vivian Miedema, and she's been operating in the middle. It's just everything. It just seems to have clicked for her. And it's really, really exciting to see if she can obviously carry this into the World Cup and then into next season. But fair play to Hardson-Marnham. Definitely my player of the season, certainly.
Just
definitely 100%.
the only reason I'm saying is that she's inconsistent is that at some stages you don't see, you're kind of wondering where your midfield is. So at the moment it seems to be Frida and Leah. I'm not saying like this is a bad thing, but it's just like you're wondering where she is, and at some point you just can't spot her, and she goes missing 5, 10, 15 minutes without even touching the ball. Next minute she's going putting in a welding. I'm not going to say that she needs to be consistent. She needs to be doing this, that, and the other, because obviously there's a game plan, and you've got to be strategic, and your movement on and off the ball has to be a bit different to what Jonas wants and what the team needs. So she has done really well. She's done a lot better than I thought she would, and the fact that she was filling in for Viv at number 10, now she's playing in a dynamic duo with Leah in the midfield. It's very different. It's almost, I did say, I think we've got probably the most versatile squad if you look at player by player. You have pretty much anyone playing anywhere if you really wanted to. I mean, I'll go back to Jem Beattie playing 5 minutes up front against Wolfsburg. Where's the goal come from? Comes from Jem Beattie.
Yes, but didn't we see Jen up front for Man United at the Emirates? We did, didn't we? If I remember rightly.
Yes. And she remember, this is a Jem Beattie that scored a hat-trick against Barcelona in the previous life, so she has centre-forward experience and a hat-trick against Chelsea. Let's not forget it. So she knows her way to find the back of the net. I like. I mean, the versatility has been our saving grace this season. You know, being able to play Williamson midfield, McCabe at left back, and occasionally at right back as well. You know, playing Manu as a striker in the final minutes at Lee Sports Village. You know, just this is ones you wouldn't expect. But now Nelson picked up the mantle. Now she's gone to 10, and with all these injuries, I mean, you mentioned about the midfield. The reason you can't spot our midfield back is because we don't have one now. We that's why we're having to play a back 3, back 5.
It's Leah Volti or nothing. Basically,
Leah Volti is our only midfield.
The way I'd see it is Leah Volti makes up like the defensive 6, and then you have Frida, and then either whoever else is on the wings, and then Stina as like the front 4. That's almost what it feels like.
Yeah,
it's not like Frida's not just doing the defensive work, but it's almost like that's how it's split. Obviously, if the wingers are also the wing backs or full backs, whatever you want to call them, are bombing forward, Leah's coming back and Frida's bombing on. So you potentially got another either 6 in defense, 6 in attack, and 4 in defense, or is that sort of split?
What's interesting now is obviously thankfully we got some new signings in, and I thought we had Katrine Kuhl and Palova both starting. On opposite wings this time, and I mean, I win again. I know I'm biased because I've invested stocks in Palova, but you just watch her again, and she was the one player of the match.
She did so well, and you know what? I'd also have to say, fantastic work from Katie McCabe to show her leadership skills. If those that don't watch Ireland and were wondering what sort of captain Katie is, she's showing how much of that captaincy and leadership role. In Katie and Leah, we've got 2 great captains and vice captains in the future, and that's something going to be looking forward to for certain. That's for sure.
We should obviously, if we are going to mention McCabe, we are going to have to mention the elephant. I mean, let's just get this out of the way like as early as possible, okay? Because let's not dwell on this.
So after Frida's goal, do we think that Katie McCabe will be thanking Frida for scoring that goal after that penalty miss? I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was going in.
I could believe it because I don't know. It's just one of these things. I mean, I'm an internal pessimist with these sort of things because I always assume the worst.
I think anybody who listens to this podcast, we know this already. And as your friends, we know this, don't we, man?
Like I always try and be an optimist, but I always fear the worst because I've suffered so much of Arsenal. But as I was saying to your fair, I think this penalty was a metric for where Arsenal were at that present time, because I think it was. I mean, I think we were all fuming that we had to play a WSL game on the Friday after a Champions League game that was played on the Monday. You know, we didn't get this game on the Monday or the Sunday. No, it was the earliest possible game after us playing Chelsea, Liverpool aside because they were midweek, but we played on the Monday. Just the scheduling anyway. That's what we were faced with, and the fact that it went 120 minutes and it was physically mentally exhausting. You know, the players were cramping up, players were dropping, players had ACLs, players were, their quads hurt. It was, we were put through the absolute meat grinder on that one. And then we, Jonas had to pack us up and go again for a game against a Leicester City side who are fighting for their lives, have just beaten Liverpool, who beat Man City 2-1 at the weekend, 4-0. This Leicester side is on the up. They could yet get out of relegation, and fair play to Willie Kirk if they do. And we're going to go, right, we've got to face them. We're expected to win. We need to win. We need every game. And I just think they were just absolutely shattered. We went for the back three, we sort of stuck with just because of the resources available to us. But we've had to play, Cool now on the right. And I think Catley didn't even start.
So lost on that wing, though. When every time I keep on looking at her and I see her in that wing role, it's almost like she's...
Well, Katrina...
Yeah, Katrina.
I don't think she's a winger. Yeah, 100%. I don't think she's a winger. But she's having to play there because of, again, versatility. But the roles we need to fill. I think she's a central midfielder, but she's having to take up...
I find it bizarre. You've got a striker/winger in Gio, and you're not trusting her enough. I don't really want to bring up Gio at the moment because...
No, don't do that. Don't go there.
It's going to open a can of worms. I love Gio. I just wish she would get a few more games at that time. That's all I'd wish. That
we can only go...
She's looking to go to the World Cup, and at this moment in time, she's not even going to get that opportunity.
We can only go on Jonas, and obviously he sees him in training. We don't. Don't know what it's like to the fitness, what we're seeing the players do, but obviously he trusts Katrine Cole over Gio, and we have to respect that decision. And there are plenty of Cole. I was saying to a person next to me, stand, a friend of mine, stand. She was saying to them, for me, she blows hot and cold. So it was really nice touches around sort of the midfield. You think, oh, there's a good player there. And then something will happen and she'll fumble it. I mean, there was that moment, there was a cutback and it looked like it was a tap in and she just stuffed it wide.
All she needed to do was flick it. And she
flicked. I know. She just didn't get it right. But onto the penalty, as I was saying, I think the team looked mentally and physically shattered. And when McCabe stood up and the way she took the penalty, I remember she took one against Man United and never did.
Blasted it top corner.
Exactly. This was just weak and tame. It was not even in the corner. It was
very un-Katie like for me where I was staying in the North Stands.
Exactly. And I just think that moment, it was a perfect start for us. We start fast, get the penalty, you think, right, get the goal in the net, points the board, and then just kick on and rack that scoreboard up because goal difference could be crucial. And I don't know if she changed her mind at the last minute or if her mind wasn't there, and I saw that and I thought, oh, this doesn't look good. And then the half goes on, and Leicester, to their credit, we were the better team, but Leicester had a few moments. There was one where the ball got lofted over, and Sabrina had to go full, Starman and completely block the ball over the top. And then even in the second half, there was a collision, and you thought there might have been a bit of a penalty shout. It wasn't. She got the ball, thankfully, but there was just a real. I was talking about Man City performance against Liverpool. It was sort of same verse. It was very, as Wenger would say, we played with the handbrake on. It was very it was a malaise. It wasn't. I never thought we were that intense and take it to them. And I thought Leicester were terrific. I thought the way Leicester set up, the way they pressed us, the way they cut off our pass lanes, a lot of time they had us hemmed in our own half. And fair play to them. Unfortunately for Willie Kirk, the player that he desired most of all when he was at Everton, Yalton Mornham, did him over again with another worldie. Let's not forget that. And I love this goal because it was the speed of thought, the beauty of the fact that you can't be offside on a throw-in, the fact that McCabe saw the picture before it's just happening and told Jodie Taylor to bomb on, throw it in, and shout out Jodie Taylor, assist for Jodie Taylor, the goal's coming, don't worry. To cut back in the end, Yalton Mornham bends in the top corner. Interesting sub. I think it was Catley and Jodie Taylor came on at the same time, and then got the goal, and then Catley came off again because of another
something. Because she felt something on the back of it, which is why she went off.
Which is probably why she wasn't starting in the first place. So we went again mid-game. We went to back three, to back four, to back three again in one game, and thankfully we saw it out. It got so bad. Jonas had to play a time delay substitute in Adjiman just to kill the game off. 10 minutes of added time. So
that was a bit unbelievable for me. I was standing like, come on, I've got a train to get. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of us need to drive home. So. I didn't get home till till 1 a.m. on Friday night.
Yeah, it was
just the travel was slug. It was just horrible.
It was awful. Obviously, shout out to Yalton Mornham. Obviously, he scored one goal. Very nearly got a hat trick. went close with one free kick and then hit the bar with the other one. It would have been nice if we got, if she got another one because she deserved it. But that was, again, you can watch that goal she scored. Just
again,
I think apart from the goal, I think the highlight for me was the small, the girls football team that was in front of me with their parents. I'm sitting there, I was doing my Red Army, Jonas Idevars, Red and White Army, and all that kind of stuff, and they're just singing along with me. At one point, I was singing Freedom On, ole, ole, ole. Then they started singing it, and I was like, oh my God, you're actually... And then I think by the time the match was kind of winding down, I kind of quietened down because I wanted to be able to talk this weekend because I had stuff to do. One of the kids sat around and said to her mum, "Oh mum, can you ask that nice lady to sing some more songs?" And obviously my partner came with me for this game. We actually got a spare last minute. We were sitting in the pub and someone had a spare, so we took it. And he's heard her and he's told me, and I said to her, "What song do you want to sing?" And she went, "Can we sing this one?" I went, "Okay, that's fine." It was really quite cute, and I think I made her day.
Good.
I gave her my North London Forever badge. I let her have it, and I've absolutely made her day. So it was something I can replace. Do you know what I mean? But to someone that young to be at a women's game at that age, I feel like it's everything.
Should actually shout out for the singing. There's a bit of some news on that front. Was it McKess actually came over pre-game to offer some chant suggestions with Jodie Taylor. I mean, fair play to her because she's hardly played at all, but she's really she's almost become the club sort of cheerleader because she gets involved in a lot of this stuff on Twitter and talking with the fans and stuff. And fair play to her for that. Also, the Frida Liata Mornham, the full name chant got a good airing, which is fantastic. Okay. Which is we after a worldie, and quite rightly so because it is obviously her.
Definitely, I think it's like between the group of footballers in front of me and obviously the girls on the pitch, and then the singing group down the other end of the stands. It was so much noise, I didn't actually hear it. So it was a lot of sound for me, to be honest with you. But in terms of the scoreline for Leicester, Matt, do you think they've recruited well in January? Considering they've got Bayern's second goalkeeper on loan.
Leipzig. She has. I think she's got.
I think we might have lost Adam as well, so he will probably pop back in a minute, hopefully. Sorry, Matt.
No, that's all right. So I believe she's got 2 years on a contract at the moment. She's the third choice at Bayern. Oh no, he's back.
Let's carry on. Go.
So honestly, she said she's quite enjoying her chance at the moment with Leicester, and I think at the moment you'd probably look at her and you'd probably go, where would she possibly fit if she was to decide, right, okay, I want to stay in England. Leicester would be a good shout because obviously what's happened with Kirsty Lavelle, unfortunately, she was really on fire with Leicester when she started when they started in the WSL, got injured. Demi Lambourne, I think it is, who was their second goalkeeper, came in and she saw them off in that first season, and they stayed up. And just whenever Kirsty Lavelle's come back, she hasn't looked up. So essentially, Leipzig is going to be one of those players that are probably going to be one to watch if she stays at Bayern. It depends because obviously Bayern have got their own goalkeeper situation at the moment. They're probably going to. It'll probably be it'll be an interesting situation to see what happens. Ruby Mace moving from City to Leicester as well. She caused a bit of controversy with her attire. I don't know if you heard about that, but basically, as far as I'm concerned, I'm seeing 11 players on each team. If you're having your shorts different lengths, if you're having
Okay. Can we just start cutting? Is this a chant involving? Is it Ruby Mace's shorts?
I didn't know there was a chant. I was just seeing things on social media.
It was a mistake. It was a chant that was made, but it has been apologised for and rescinded. And let's just move on from that. That was a.
Just as far as I'm concerned, there's 11 players on that field. at one point I was looking at, I think it was Manu at Wolfsburg. I thought she was wearing trackies because it was.
Yeah, 'cause she wears her shorts rather long, doesn't she?
Yes.
Compared to say Leah Volti.
Oh, so long.
But if they're comfortable, fine. It's technically none of our business.
Where what?
They're to watch football, not what they're wearing.
Wear whatever you like. It's not up to us. Not what there. It's up to you. It's whatever you decide, and also you've got to have that discussion with the kit man as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
just as long as it's not designed by Stella McCartney, then
yeah, exactly, 100%. I'm with you on that. With you on that. I never want to see that woman near my club ever again. Oh my god. But shout out to all the people who did buy the hoodie and were currently walking around looking like blue and white cows. That is the best way I can describe the print, unfortunately. You're brave.
Someone should have got it.
But I personally couldn't do it.
no.
Someone should have got it for Kaylin, and then she could have and then she would have looked at it like a zebra.
Oh yeah! Shout out to the inflatable zebras now that are filling
Yeah.
the North Bank. It's become our new mascot, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, the more zebras, the better.
Between that and Kaylin's new chant that we sort of created, and Kaylin wants a zebra, and nah. And all that jazz is, but we're talking about Leicester's recruitment. Yeah, they've done fantastic, and I think they've done enough. I generally do. I look at what's happening, and you'd probably say a point, maybe enough to keep them up, because Reading are, I believe, on 10.
They're on 11 the last I looked.
So you're probably looking at 15 points keeps you up. So if you can get 4 points for your next 2 games, then you're staying up.
Reading are in 11, Leicester on 13, Tottenham on 14, and Brighton, I feel safe on 16, personally.
Reading looked to be the one, unless Tottenham could lose a few more games. But yeah, Reading looked. Also, I guess we move on again. I just want to do a shout out also to the North Bank again, because North London Forever gets played a lot at the Meadow Park, and I don't really feel it gets much of a shout. It really got a belt out at the game. I thought really heard it sung. I thought I don't know if it helped the fact that the national anthem played beforehand, and everyone's like, "No, this isn't our anthem. We're waiting for the."
We're waiting for the next one. Exactly.
Yeah, and this was,
I was actually rather surprised on how quiet the ground went when that was played. I was like, okay, because normally there's a lot of patriotic people, and they will stand there and sing it, but.
Oh, if I'm honest, like hearing that from watching it, not being actually at the ground, it does feel very odd when that sort of thing. You sort of save that for like cup finals and things like that. You don't save it for.
Yeah. I know it's Coronation Weekend, but no, you don't play it at a women's football match.
Well,
we're here for football, not anything else.
Before I forget as well, Sabrina made a really lovely message on the back of someone's card, going around. She said, I've got it written down. Sorry, Adam, you go over your point.
No, I know. It's the message basically saying, I can't give you my shirt, but, keep dreaming big sort of thing, which I thought was a nice way to sort of respect the artwork the kid had created, but give her the cold truth that, we don't give away our kits, ask something else. Also shout out that our hot dogs are way better than the ones Emma Hay supplied at Kings Meadow. We had them.
It's the return of the lunchbox, wasn't it?
The lunchbox is returned, and I thought, again, service was superb, and as was the food. So can't complain. The only disappointment was I'd run out of Diet Coke by the time I got there, so it was hot dog. But the hot dog was pretty good. But yeah,
you did get your drink in the pub, so.
Well, yeah, I did get a drink in the pub. That is true. Also, shout out for Jen Beattie, 150 appearances for the Arsenal. So yeah, unfortunately, I missed the presentation, but an amazing achievement for her. And obviously, she's been.
How did you miss the presentation? I managed to get in there
because I was queuing up for my hot dog. That's why I missed it. By the time I got back, they were doing the.
No wonder my other half lost you. He's standing in the ground like, yeah, he's gone. I don't know where he's gone.
Yeah, I'd gone for a hot dog. By the time I got back, everyone's going, everyone's ready to go. Yes, I am ready to go. Let's go. Let's go. So,
he's happy.
I actually got my hot dog.
Got a kind of alteration to Jen's song. So who put the ball in the back of the Wolfsburg net? Who put the ball in the back of the Wolfsburg net? Who body popped to celebrate? It's Super Jenny, BET.
I like that.
Super Jen.
Well,
Super.
hey, it could have some legs, although at the same
Do you know
time,
what that reminds me of? I know this is completely irrelevant, but I came across a reel on Instagram of the Leicester fans who came third in a 2-horse race, who
Oh,
came
yes,
third in
yes.
a 2-horse race, who came third
Yes.
2-horse race. Tottenham bleep Hotspur. I can't swear on this podcast, unfortunately.
No,
So I'll leave it to our listeners and
Put it
YouTube
well,
viewers, I should say,
Yeah.
to guess that missing word.
well, as everyone says, women's football, we don't swear in women's football. We are a safe space for kids only and families. There is no profanity.
Get out of it.
But I should say with your new Gem PD chart, as great as it is, I don't know how much legs it's going to be because this could be her last season with us. So if you want to get it in now because she's.
I would say that potentially with what's happening with Leah, I would probably say she gets an extension for at least 6 months.
Yes, that is and.
Do you know what? I'd give her another season.
Anna comes back as well, so then essentially you don't need to go out and buy another centre back next season.
That will be the only thing. It'll either be we buy a new centre back, we rely on Patsy, or we send Jen. So again, another interesting thing in the summer. Jen was probably looking to wind down, and it's like the classic thing when you know.
But the thing is, I think if she does stay for next season, she'd have to be off the bench player.
Yeah, she's not starting.
She's not a starter.
Unless Lotta and Anna both do their ACLs.
I swear to God, if that happens. I swear to God, if that happens, I'm actually, oh my gosh. I'm in the, I don't even know what to say to you anymore because you say these things and then they happen every single time. I'm pretty sure people who watch us week in, week out, or drop into an episode, must think I'm mad because half the time I want to throttle you because of the things you say and then they come true.
I'll make a prediction that is so stupid it can't possibly happen and then we're right.
No, just stop the predictions.
Every player will get an ACL injury at the start of the season.
Sense into him. Make him stop predicting things, please. He predicted every single Wolfsburg goal just before it went in.
Okay, well, I'll predict we'll win the league next season. There you go. See how that works.
You know what I was going to say? In 12 months' time, we'll probably be sitting here. We'll be top of the league. We'll be top of the league by 3 points or something ridiculous like that. Coming to the last day of the season.
And then I'll come back and clip this.
Exactly. Come back to it.
All right. Okay. Before we wrap up, I do want to have a quick chat about the relegation race. Well, relegation battle and title race.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a quick chat about Brighton. For tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I mean, that came around a bit quickly from Friday, I have to say. But title race, Man United sitting 4 points clear at the top. Chelsea have 2 games in hand. One is being played tomorrow, and I think the other one is next week.
Yeah, so we
both in midweek.
Both us and Chelsea got 2 games in hand, and they're being playing the Wednesday this week and the Wednesday next week.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Chelsea are playing this weekend.
And
they're playing Man United.
Yeah, they're playing Man United in the cup final.
Interesting. For me personally, for this title race in the FA Cup, I need for me, out of the 2 teams, the lesser evil is Chelsea. I want Emma Hayes to do her thing as she normally does. Although a lot of people will know I can't stand the woman, and I still can't. But she's the lesser of 2 evils in this situation.
Can we get it straight, Lottie? You want Emma Hayes? Well, I know the scenario around it, but you obviously want
lesser of 2 evils.
Right. And you slated me.
2 evils.
And you slated me.
The amount of grief I've had on social media from Man United fans saying they're going to come up, they're going to win WSL, they're going to win the FA Cup, and then they're going to win the Champions League next season.
Yeah.
No.
Right, but can you just
deal with it? And it's not all of them. That's the worst part. It is not all of them.
I want an apology now for people criticising me, saying, Adam, why did you want Emma Hayes to win against Manchester City? If they'd beaten Manchester City,
the thing is, at this point for me, it's crunch time. Do you know what I mean? They've got 2 games in hand. They need them 6 points. They need them 6 points. End of story.
I'm with you. I want Emma Hayes to win Chelsea because of less 2 evils. Chelsea are in the driving seat. If they win the games in hand, they're 2 points clear. The problem is we've got to play them, and we need points of our own. If things are to go our way, I can see it that Man City will fall into 4th place. I think that defeat to Liverpool.
The thing is, there's only 3 points between. If we nick the 3 points tomorrow night, that brings us level, and we're ahead of them on goal difference.
We've got a 5-point goal difference.
There's
really,
5.
that goal difference acts as almost like an extra point. So we can actually bump Manchester City out on goal difference if we get a decent scoreline against Brighton and Everton. And those aren't going to... Well, Brighton, I think they're pretty much safe now. But Brighton away, Everton away, I can imagine them being slogfests. Unless we are... if we were full strength, I'd have no qualms about it. But I just, we saw what it was against Leicester, and I fear the other two games are going to be the same.
That's why I'm looking at every game as a cup final. I'm not looking beyond Brighton at this point. I don't care about anything else.
The Chelsea game is going to be the main one. Again, if we were full strength against Chelsea, I'd be confident. My worry is if it's a defeat, it has to be a minimal. It can't be like a 5-0.
Minimal.
It has to be a 1-0 defeat. Take that. Go back and play Villa on the last game of the season. It's fascinating though, and we're in a weird position where we can actually win the title, and Man City can't, and they're ahead of us in the table, which is mad. I don't think we win the title. I mean, something monstrous would have to happen for Man United to.
You'd have to have Man United completely bostle it and lose every single game. You'd have to have Chelsea losing or dropping points for that to happen.
We say that though. Actually, fairness, Man United, they've only got 2 games left, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which are Man City at home. You never know. Manchester derby, strange things happen, and then away at Liverpool, which Liverpool have shown they could win this sort of game. Man United lost the last 2 games of the season.
I would love it. That's the funny thing as well, is that if Man United lose both of their games, Man City could nick 3rd spot. We could go into 2nd, Chelsea win the league.
Yeah, you say Man United could drop into 4th?
Yeah, United drop into 4th.
I mean, no, the goal swing required. What was it? It's 40.
That's the other thing as well. The goals.
You are trying to overturn a 42-25 goal differential.
It means something like Man City needs to go to United and score like 9 goals, and then
they need 2 9-0 wins to overturn.
5-0 at the opening day of the end of the season game. I can't remember who they've got. It's Everton at home. They've got our last day of the season. So
City.
Everton away to City on the last day of the season. So with United playing away to Liverpool, that's going to be an interesting one.
It's all hypotheticals at the moment. We won't know until the mega, super, ultra, super, mega super Sunday happens, when all 4 play each other after the FA Cup final.
Isn't it Saturday, guys?
Is that Saturday? It's a super Saturday. Sorry, it's a super mega, ultra, super.
Because our season ends on the women finish on the Saturday, the men finish on the Sunday.
No, I meant the one where we play Chelsea and Man U.
Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I'm thinking of end of season when everyone finishes.
Oh yeah, no. We'll know the lie of the land once the top 3, 4 have all done their little 1-to-1s, and then we'll know.
We do play them on a Sunday, I think.
Yeah, we play them first, and then Man United, Man City the later game, which is again it's a weird dynamic because then we'll play our game, and then we'll have to watch the Manchester derby between our fingers, and I don't even know what result we need by then. I mean, it's going to be really weird to watch.
It's going to be down to the line. Like some people say that everything will be settled before 2nd week before the season ends. I think it will go down to the line. I really will.
My prediction is we'll get 3rd place on goal difference. That's what I think. I think that's what it'll be.
I'll take that. It's Champions League. Take that.
Yeah, well, the Champions League. If we don't draw Real Madrid and do a Man City, as long as we get through the playoffs and then the group and then the other playoffs.
But I think is I can't see us going through the playoffs. I'll be honest with you. I'm sitting here looking at this. We're losing at least 17 of our girls. Yes, we've got Manu in goal, but 17 of them are going on World Cup duties.
We've got to sign players in the window. So just because we have to, because
this is the problem, Adam, is that essentially with the dates that I gave last episode, is that we could potentially start in during the World Cup is still going on. So either it means that we're going to have to ask the under-16s to fill in the blanks. They go in and slot into the.
The thing is, I'd like to see the under-21s have a shot because they have one. They did win their league.
But that could be interesting. Depends on we need to make sure that everything happens. And if we're gonna go and sign, I don't know how many players we're gonna end up signing, because if you look at Beth will probably be back.
Beth and Viv, surely Beth and Viv will be back from their ACLs by then.
Yeah, they'll be up, but they won't be fully up and running towards that Christmas sort of period. So then, even then, you're probably looking at January. So then, it might be an idea to look at the loan system, see if we can get people in on loan for the first 6 months of the season instead of just going right. Okay, or we look to like Michelle Agaman. Right, Michelle's going to be playing X amount of minutes, and then she. In January, might shift her off on a dual loan or a loan for the rest of the season, so that she can properly develop, say, at Bristol City.
Well,
we'll talk about transfers later on in the season. Later on down the line.
This is hypotheticals because we're not even in the places yet. All we can do is just play. I mean, Jonas was asked, look at the table. Have you looked at the table? He says, no, don't care. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
We have no influence on the table. We have no influence on what other teams are playing. All we can do is just win as many games as possible, finish as high as we can,
Exactly.
and what will be will be. And if we fall short and come fourth, we could just blame injuries and everything will be fine.
Mhm.
And then as for the other end of the table,
Tottenham, Leicester, and Reading. It's 3 points in it.
Leicester got the game in
Personally, I
hand.
think Brighton are safe. Personally.
Brighton are safe. That's what did you say? Brighton are on 16.
Yeah,
So
Brighton.
if you're saying 15 points keeps you up,
I think so.
then you're looking at Reading, Tottenham.
I think Leicester, Tottenham and Leicester will just scrape it, and Reading will be the one to go down, unfortunately. As
West
sad as I'm to see them go.
West Ham are a bit lucky because they actually haven't won a game apparently in 2023, which is amazing. We drew nil.
Oh, they got 17
Yes.
points. Bloody
Good.
hell.
They had a good start.
Yeah.
West Ham
Fair enough.
17 points, and then they just sort of they've once you're safe, you just don't. There's no. You just cruise on draws for the rest of the season. This is why relegation zones. Well, the team leagues need to be bigger, and the relegation zones need to be bigger. It's. I just. I want. I don't. Obviously, an Arsenal fan, I don't want Tottenham to do well, and I'm really torn because I'd love to see them relegated because it'd be so funny. But then I'd lose the North London derby, which are always so.
But we'd lose that, and we'd lose our additional 6 points every season.
Yeah, although we only got 4 points last season.
Yeah, but it's still more than 3. I don't care.
Yeah.
It should have been. It should have been.
Should have been 6 points.
It should have been 6, but the referee was acting up, and there's my referee blame, which is for the episode there, ladies and gentlemen.
I
We
hope.
still never lost to them, which is
No, we still lost them. Thank you, Leah Volti. Thank you, Alex Morgan. I do hope that Spurs relegations battle goes to the last day of the season, and I think if Leicester can win, I don't know what's Leicester's game in hand. Is it Chelsea?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, the problem is, you have your own horses, but because of how tight the league is, you realise that you can't get all the results you need. So we'd have to assume Leicester would lose that, and therefore it would be Spurs 14, Leicester 13, Reading 11, so we say, and then something similar, towards the end. I mean, it could go either way. If Spurs, I watched Spurs against Man United. They were pathetic. It was absolutely awful. They had one really good chance, which Beth England bottled. And Beth England was playing for Chelsea. She scores that, but she absolutely bottled it. And after that, Man United, but Spurs just said, well, you know what? We're just going to try not to be defeated and just go. We'll go deep. We'll go, and we're going to hold out for a 0-0. And they just clear the ball and they go straight back into the Man United midfield and they cycle it and work it again. There was just nothing. And I think they had a few odd chances in the second half when Man United eased off because they'd racked up a 3-0 lead. Fair play, Mary Earps, some really good saves, but it's like this is just rubbish. I mean, you got Beth England in attack, you've got Iwabuchi on the bench. Oh, there was another chance. Well, I think they hit the post. I think it was Jess Nelson went to cross in, and it was an open goal header, and they had it against the post. It was just so bad. And they, for that alone, they deserve relegating, but they weren't. They've because they beat Brighton, was it 1,000-0 early in the season? They've got just enough points to get over the line. Reading, I fear for because they've been a stalwart. Kelly Chambers has worked wonders, but you can only avoid the inevitable for so long, and it does.
I know exactly. I mean, the men's team's just been relegated to League One, is it?
Yeah, League One. Yeah.
So for them to be going down to the Championship, it is sad, but it's.
The thing with Reading, I don't think they've ever kicked on. This is the thing, they've stuck with Kelly Chambers all this time, and they've just sort of shrunk. This was a team that had like the likes of Dan Carter in it. They had likes of Farrell Williams. Frank Kirby came through that team. Rose.
McCundy's still there.
Who?
Emma McCundy. Mitchell.
Former Mitchell, Emma McCundy. They got the goalkeepers pretty good as well. They had is it Jan Rose, the Canadian striker? Obviously, she's been out injured for all the season, but it just feels like over the last few seasons, when they've sort of been like a comfortable mid-table team that gets on scale, they've just shrunk. It's a bit
like they've withered away in themselves.
It's a bit like Birmingham when they got relegated a few seasons ago, and then suddenly you look down and realize, oh my goodness, they're lodging on the trap door. They're just sort of slowly sort of decayed, and they've never kicked on. They never to prove it. They just want to just keep things ticking over. They've never kicked on. And Kelly Chambers done great there, but I feel like she is the captain of a Titanic, and she's taking Reading down. And it's a shame.
Yeah, she's sinking with her ship, so to speak.
Yeah,
the problem is that you look at the Championship. So Liverpool, it took them 2 seasons to go back up. Bristol, 2 seasons to go back up. Next season, you're looking at Birmingham. Birmingham will be favourites to go back up because they've been in that seat. that will be their second season in the division, so you expect them to go up. But if I'm honest, the Championship is probably more fierce than it's ever been in the last couple of years, and especially with the reforms come next season with a 2 up, 2 down system, that's going to be even more competitive. And it's not, and even with one spot for relegation, WSL, one promotion spot, it's that's going to be changing sooner rather than later. I imagine see that. Perhaps after where it goes to 2 up, or we've talked about this so many times about developing the league and how competitive it is. If I'm honest, I would like to see if they're going to add a European competition, I'd rather them add more groups into the Champions League group phase, because there's no point in having like a Man City versus Real Madrid halfway through a playoff. And
I don't know. I think it works rather well. You know,
it does and it doesn't, because I mean,
I still feel like we should have our own version of the Europa League, personally.
Yeah, then Man City can.
But it's a case of waiting for it to grow again.
There needs to be incentivization for teams to does not just survive relegation every season. There has to be a reason to keep fighting, even the top three.
Yes, so like say 3rd and 4th go to Europa League. Do you know what I mean? Bit like the men's system, it works. Those mid-table teams are now fighting for the European places. We go down. The men's goes down to 7.
Should also add. Look, I mean, we'll talk about Championship earlier. I watched the Championship. I didn't have a horse in the race, although I did have a good friend who was wanting Sunderland to go up, and obviously, with the Beth Mead and Jordan Nobbs and all that, who are obviously ex-Sunderland, wanted to do well. I watched the Championship. The fact that there are teams scrambling to finish 6th in the table. Yeah. I mean, that is all that is all the drama you need. I mean, it's fantastic watching the permutations change and watching Millwall chuck a 2-goal lead, who are secure and in the playoffs, and suddenly drop out the back door because they fumbled it. That's the drama you need, and you don't get that from a first place. That's a mid-table tussle, but just happens to be over the boundary of a playoff. That's what you need in the WSL. Something like that for a Europa League sort of system, where you have the likes of Liverpool and Everton scrambling on the last day of the season to get into that spot. So,
exactly. But the thing is, I just sometimes feel like those teams who are scrabbling to stay up. We've secured our spot. We're getting our funding for next year, and that's it.
Well, that's it. That's what it's just a bigger relegation to push them further.
We're running over the same tracks again, aren't we? It's just the same old thing. So that we want, obviously, the leagues to do better, and this, that, and the other. We want X, Y, Z, and it's not going to happen overnight. But
no,
it's a carry on development. I mean, you imagine like 10 years ago, since the WSL actually started, and we're sitting here 10 years later, and you've probably got people that have never watched a women's game before, going to games. You've seen stadiums sell out. You've had a home European Championship, which England have won, which also had Northern Ireland and other teams as well take part. It's huge, but there's still more that can be done that needs to be developed.
We've only just accepted a 3rd team into the Champions League. It was a top 2 for so long. Now it needs to be a top 4 pretty much, because with the talent is quickly overtaken the slots available. But that's not going to happen for ages.
Back as well as some of the other leagues as well. You've got likes of obviously Roma and Juventus, and then you've got about a 4-man race for that last spot, for a women race, should I say?
4-player race.
It's Inter, AC, and you probably got another. I can't remember who the other team is, but there was about 3 of them all fighting for that last spot, and it's just like you kind of need, as much as it is quite nice to see that, but if there's only say 2 spots, it feels kind of like you're being wronged, because it needs to be either everyone gets 3 spots or no one gets 3 spots. It's not worked out well.
This will be when again, as the competition grows, when the Champions League kicks on again another gear, then there's a last 16 round, more groups. The silly playoff system gets fixed, because what's currently there is just stupid. Although what I would say is, if let's say we hypothetically finish 3rd, a team has to host the playoff mini tournament. I don't know how that's determined, but it'd be nice if it was at Meadow Park and we could just go in for 2 games. And
that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. But while the World Cup's on, just pop down to Meadow Park and watch Arsenal play.
No, exactly. I'm gonna swiftly move on before we wrap up. We're gonna move Brighton preview. So tomorrow we're kicking off at 7:30. Lena Hurtig, Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford are not 100%, and it's unknown if they will actually even play.
No.
Because obviously the press conference with Jonas was before their training session, so we don't know who is gonna play. Basically, personally, I don't think Ford's gonna be ready. Lena, no. Catley, maybe on the bench.
Well,
Maybe.
It might be a repeat of what we had against Leicester and just have Catley on the bench. I mean, we are so down to the bare bones now, and it's no wonder when we're limping to 1-0 wins against Leicester. You just look at the team, and it's just a hodgepodge, patchwork quilt of square pegs and round holes, and it's an absolute mess. And yeah, the players aren't coming back from injury fast. I mean, I'd hope Ford would be back for the Wolfsburg game, and I'm starting to worry maybe she'll be out for the season, but hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get her at least for the Chelsea game, because I think she'll do quite well in that one if we can get her back fit. Catley, I think will be bench. Hurtig, I mean, she comes in, she comes out. It could be that we don't see her for the rest of the season. I mean, I feel really sorry for her because she just hasn't settled, but she hasn't been fit either. And you just think that's the one player. This is not meant to be a bad thing. We're not going to miss her because she hasn't played. So it's not like we've lost anything for her being injured. Whereas Ford and Catley have been.
It's a bit like, for me, it's a bit like the Nikita Paris situation. For me personally.
Yeah.
This is where I kind of have the issue with people turn around saying Nikita Paris, we remember that, she was crap for Arsenal. Remember, she had to resettle back into a league that she had previously left 3 years ago. 3 years ago, it was a different league.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same, and it was also a different formation and everything else that comes along to it. It's not always easy coming back to places you've been. Lucy Bronze, she fit in quite well at Man City, went to Lyon now, and then back to City. Now she's at Barcelona. It's different. So for Lena, I would say, okay, it's been hit and miss, but you give her another season, considering that she can play in both wings and everything, and her height, she's going to be so important next season. And say if we do get that third spot, she could be the crucial point between having the players back. If she doesn't go to the World Cup, that's the other thing.
Yeah. What I would say is, firstly, the Paris one, I think she's doing great at Manchester United, and I'm really happy that she's actually doing reasonably well at Manchester United. She's getting some crucial goals. She's getting the minutes. She's actually starting games. For me, it was the signing was a mistake. It was, and we've had a few missed signings in the current regime, and unfortunately, Paris was one of them. It was, and we made the mistake. We rightly let her go on to Manchester United, and she's doing great there. And fair play to her. I would also say is. With the Hurtig one, it's our signings generally seem to kick in the next season. So I think the likes of like Wienreuter became really good this season. Leonson Mornham has become really, really good this season. Maybe we'll see Hurtig be good next season, but she's got to stay fit.
It is that because it was a new league and everything, you have to kind of settle. And if you get injuries, you can't really settle.
Yeah. And I worry if it'll be a third season, but whether we'll be patient enough to indulge this signing long enough for her to integrate into the team. But we'll see. But and again, Gio's another one as well. Actually, Gio, she's had more game time, and she's sort of been in and out of the team, coming from the bench. She's a bench option. That's what she is now. She's a bench option because, and as is Jodie Taylor, we are that down to the bare bones, and I don't think they're brought on for tactical reasons now. I think they're brought on purely for squad rotation and just as to make up numbers. The same with Michelle Adjumang. Again, I don't think there is a tactical reason you bring her on other than to kill time on the clock. That's where we are now, unfortunately.
Oh no, definitely 100%. So score predictions for
1-0.
tomorrow night. What's it going to be? Obviously, hopefully Crawley's football pitch won't be too frozen over.
Well, if it
again,
is,
I doubt it because it is the merry month of May.
If it is, then more I can get around in. Again.
Yeah. No, it's not stopped raining up by me tonight, and it should.
Same down here.
Should be nice and muddy. Hopefully, just the way footballers like it. I've got to say, I like a muddy pitch, compared to a dry pitch. When you're going for them tackles off the strikers, so much easier. So Matt, what's the score going to be?
Yeah, again, I'm trying to remember what Brighton did at the weekend. I think they lost in the end, but it's going to be different.
Yeah.
You're going to check it, aren't you?
I've got scores in front of me. Just 2 secs. Let me get
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm just
Brighton beat West Ham 1-0.
Yeah, there you go, Lottie. Lottie went first.
So it wasn't like, it's almost, as I said, 15 points. You kind of think, well, they might see this as like a chance to either just get an extra point on the board, or almost like you can't throw it away because you've got 2 other games and you kind of just don't need to go out and do anything. It was a bit of a shame actually, because had we played this at Crawley when we needed to, we could have won this game like 6s. Well, I would have probably said it would have been 6s and 7s. But I'm quite since Adams nicked it, I think I'll go for 2-0 again. It'll be interesting to see how it goes though, because if we can score 1 in the first half, I'll be happy with that. And then obviously get a second one in the second half. That'll be fine for me. Just hopefully we can get the 3 points and knock on wood. That's the most important thing at the moment.
I just think we're going to start, because I remember the Man City went to Brighton. Man City went to Brighton. They won 2-1, but it was a bit of a slog because a sure late winner. They got them over the line. Brighton sort of really felt them off, and also held them off. And we saw how good they were against Man United in the FA Cup. They pushed Man United all the way. I think it's going to be tight, and I think we're going to have to be so efficient with our chances, because I think we're going to struggle. I'm going 1-0, and I'm going to go for a first goal for Jodie on her return for Jodie Taylor. I think she will come off the bench and scramble home a goal.
She needs that goal before the end of the season.
And this could be her moment. If Jodie Taylor scrambles home the scruffiest of scruffy goals to make it a 1 win, I think we'll all be happy.
But then you could say at the end of the season, if we play Villa and it's like we get a penalty against Villa in the last couple of minutes or something like that, Jodie Taylor's taken that penalty.
McCabe will knock a top corner. She's learned her lessons.
Yeah.
Everett.
But
yeah.
if I'd like to see Victoria score.
Yeah, I'd love her to see Palova score, but
she's due one.
Yeah, she's due one. Yeah,
it was fantastic in that game against Leicester.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to go 2-1. Purely on the basis they've got that new manager bounce. They're getting their points. They're going to stay up. So I'm going to go 2-1 to the Arsenal though.
Yeah.
That is everything from us for now. We are back next Tuesday. We'll obviously look back at Brighton, and we'll be looking ahead to
Everton.
Who's next? Everton, which is another midweek game.
Got 3 away games. 3 away games on the trot before we go back to
Wednesday 6:15 kickoff against Everton.
Yeah, well, tomorrow, if you do want to watch the game and you're in the UK, you can watch it on Sky Sports. It's 7:30. But that is everything from us for now. And we will see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.